Hey guys, it's Marissa, and oh my goodness, I know it's been a long while since you've seen any of my videos. I think the last upload that I had was, geez, beginning of this year. I think January. See, back then I was thinking, oh, let me take a break from YouTube. It was at one point, really tiring for me, especially since it was after the holidays then. And so I figured, okay, well, let me take a break from it, and then maybe a month or two, and then let's see what happens, and then we'll come back later, and so on and so forth. Anyway, long story short, a lot of other stuff happened in between. So yeah, I'm gonna have to update you on what had happened in my life. Anyway, while we're doing that, while we're talking, or I'm talking, I should say, I'm gonna start working on some Christmas gifts that I would like to give out to my family and friends. I have this gift tissue that I bought quite a bit of this from Dollar Tree last year. And I thought I was going to use them all, and obviously I didn't, but thankfully I was able to save them, so I'm going to use this. I'm actually going to use the ones that have prints on them. And then this, oh my gosh, I've had this like forever. So I'm going to use this too as my ribbons for these things that I'm going to make. I have this ribbon from Michaels, and we'll see if I will be able to use this. Of course, I have some Scotch tape here. And look, these are the ones that items that I bought from Bath and Body. These are their older style bottles of the hand sanitizers, and they had a huge sale. I always buy their sales when they have their huge sales, the mid-year and the end of the holidays, Christmas, Christmas sale or whatever, end of the holiday sale. So I bought this in July thinking, oh yeah, I could play with this, I can give this out and whatever. And so I figured, I'll create some now. I mean, COVID is still real at our time right now. So I bought all these different flavors. I got, geez, what is this? This is sunshine and lemon, vanilla coconut. This is, oh, I cannot see what it is. Anyway, I think it's bergamot. This one is, oh my gosh, I cannot see what their flavors are. I have to open them up so I can see what the flavors are. This one is cactus blossom. Then this one was eucalyptus. We have this one. Of course, I can't read it. And they come in a pack of 5. I don't remember how much I paid for this. I mean, it was so... This is fresh water and aloe. And then this one, we have... this one is black cherry merlot. Oh, I love this flavor. And then finally, we have warm vanilla sugar. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have 35 here. So let's figure that out later, how many can fit. And oh, by the way, if you guys have gone to, you should you should be familiar with this plastic bag thing. This is from, of course, Bath and Body, and they gave me quite a bit, so which is good. I can use this for this, and I'm sure as I work on this, you will see, oh yeah, I've seen that at Bath and Body. And so basically I'm just going to copy their packaging or wrapping of this bottle. So let me take this out and pull out my my pattern tissue paper. And then I'll be right back. I'll just cut them into half like this, and then we'll wrap this um, this gorgeousness, if you will. Oh my gosh. Does that mean there's only one tissue of this? Oh, but then again, oh no, there's two. So I can literally wrap 4 of this. I'm sorry if I'm gonna be right back, guys. I'm gonna be right back. Let me cut this up. Okay, guys, I am back. So basically, I just cut this in half, as I showed you earlier, and then on this, I just cut this, took out this bottom part, and then I just cut this 2 in half. There will be areas of this plastic where the folds are going to show, but hopefully my family and friends will not mind that. So this is all I have right now, and this is what I'm going to use because I don't want to waste all those bags that they gave me at Bath and Body. So what I plan to do is put in 4 of this in the packages or in the gift bags that I'm going to create for my family and friends. So I'm just going to do this at random and then pull out whatever it is that you know, I can pull out, and hopefully they'll like the scents that they get. And then we'll take it from there. So we've already cut this up. Let me take this out of the way. And okay, guys. Oh, this one hasn't been cut through. So I'm kind of excited to work on this. But yeah, so oh my gosh, you guys, I had quite an adventure. So like I said, I did not want to be, you know, because I was a little burnt out from doing all the videos from last year, and I figured, oh mate, let me take a break. I was expecting only to do it for a month, and then of course the month turned into several months, and then so back in 2000, and I'm sure you can tell that I am not a spring chicken here. So I was going through a premenopausal in 2017, 2018. So my GYN said, well, Marissa, if you know, you're gonna watch what your period's gonna be, you know, and then track them. If you haven't had a period for a year, then that means you've successfully menopaused. So I said, okay, that's pretty, you know, that's pretty okay. I mean, I got that. I can relate to that. I'm okay with that. So 2018, September 2018 until September 2019, I did not have a period at all. So I was like really happy because I'm one of those people who didn't like having periods, actually. I mean, to me, it was a little bit of a humbug to have, you know, my monthly period. I didn't want to have it then. And, you know, that's that. Anyway, so, excuse my reach. So anyway, I was happy that I didn't have my period for that year. And then, so again, September 2018 till September 2019, I didn't have my period. Then October, the beginning of October, my period came. I was like really, you know, bummed. I was like, oh shucks, does this mean that I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not menopaused? So anyway, I didn't think twice about it, guys. I just went on with my life. And so I had an appointment to see my GYN again for my annual checkup on beginning of 2018, 2020, before the COVID, guys. So it was about, I think it was February or January or February, I don't remember. Anyway, so we were talking, and I said, and she, you know, she was checking on my status and how things were going with me, with my, you know, period and stuff. So I was telling her, you know, I said, oh yeah, it's funny because I didn't have a period the whole year. from September 2018 until September 2019. And all of a sudden, I got my period on my anniversary, because my wedding anniversary happened to be beginning of October. So she looked at me, she goes, well, why didn't you call me? I said, in my head, I was like, why should I call you about that? I mean, anyway, not thinking, I mean, I don't have a medical degree or anything, I'm just a paper pusher in the admin section. So I looked at her and I said, what do you mean? And she goes, well, that's not normal. You didn't have a period for a whole year, and all of a sudden, the beginning of October, you had a period. And I said, yeah. And then she said, okay, that's a warning. That's a warning signal. And I'm like thinking to myself, okay, is she, I'm sorry guys, I'm a little disorganized here. So I said in my head, I was like, oh, is she overreacting? Because I just had a period, and guys, you've had periods and stuff, and that's not a big deal to me. So she says, no, that's not normal. I said, okay, so what do we do? So she had ordered an ultrasound, and oh my God, guys, that ultrasound, I did not realize. I'm thinking, if that's how it feels to get raped by several people, what am I doing? Oh yeah. So I was thinking, oh my gosh, I wonder if this is how it feels to be raped by, by several guys or whatever, because that probe that they put in me was long and skinny. I mean, it's probably about this skinny. And the technician could not find my ovaries. Now, guys, remember, I did not have a period for 1 year. So as far as, I guess that means my ovaries shrunk, because I'm supposed to be already menopause, right? I did not have any periods right after that episode. So I'm like, okay. And then, so everything, she did her thing, which, mind you guys, it was the most painful experience, as far as down there is concerned. And so I was like, oh my God, does she have to be rough? And I asked her, I mean, does this have to be this way? And she says, well, I wanted to make sure that I see everything that I need to see. So I'm like, oh my goodness. So she did her thing, and all I could think of is, I was praying that, get it over with. This is painful. How am I gonna, anyway, I was praying. So a couple weeks later, I went back to my GYN, and she says, okay, well, and then she drew her uterus, I guess, on her board, and she says, Marissa, if you had gone through menopause, and you have, the lining on your uterus should be thin, but unfortunately yours is thick. So we're gonna have to watch it. And, if you have any bleeding or spotting, call me right away. So I said, okay. So, and then of course, COVID hit. And I was having some spottings. I mean, my spots were about probably dime size, as big as this. It's not a lot, through, on and off for several, on and off, like every month, like I was having a period. And I didn't want to go into the clinic or call her and go to the clinic because of COVID. I was more scared of the COVID than anything. So, okay, we let that go. And, to me, it was like one spot here, one spot there every month. It's not a big deal in my head. So, come May of this year, April, May, June, I've noticed the spots are getting bigger. Again, it's still like a regular, monthly period when the spots come out. The spots are now getting bigger. They're now getting to be nickel size, and some were quarter size, and some were a little bigger than that. And I'm like, okay, this is not normal anymore. So come June of this year, I called my doctor, and she had an availability. I was able to be walked in the following week, which, because I called her towards the end of June. I got in beginning of July. And I told her what was going on, and then she finally said, okay, and you said you've had this spotting for, practically the whole year of last year, which is 2020, right? And I said, yeah. After our appointment, that's what it felt like. By the way, guys, I'm cutting about 14 inches of this ribbon. I'm going to cut like maybe, I'm thinking 5 of this for one side and 5 for the other, or 3 on this side and 3 on the other side. So anyway, I said yes. And then she goes, okay, well then how about we operate? And I looked at her and I said, and hopefully we won't find anything. And I looked at her and I said, okay, so I'm a little confused. I said, what are you hoping not to find? And then she looked at me, she said, cancer. And I'm like, holy mess, right? So I was like, okay, sure, let's do it. So so the order was for a hysteroscopy, basically for a camera to go through me down there and have a camera to look inside of me. And she said, besides, you have polyps in there, and also we'll do a myomectomy. I understood that to be DNC. So I said, okay. So I was ready. I was gung-ho. I'm not gung-ho, but you know what I mean. I was ready. So we did that, and she scheduled me for September 1st. So everybody that I told this to told me, well, Marissa, if it was something that she feels is, worse, then I'm sure she would have had scheduled you sooner, right? So September 1st was my schedule. So I wasn't thinking about it because people at work and, some of my friends were telling me that, which, it calmed me down because I'm like, okay, well, maybe that was the case. Maybe I don't have to worry. Maybe, whatever. I didn't worry at all. But at the back of my head and in my heart, I was worried because, I mean, I've never had an operation except for when I had my son back, and that was like 30 years ago. So I did not have to, I wasn't worried about that. So anyway, the day came and I had such a bad feeling about it. I don't know how to explain it to you guys. I had a bad feeling about it. So she did her thing. It was an outpatient, procedure. I went in, she operated on me. She took some samples. And then September 8th, I went back to her for the results. Guys, I think you kind of know what the results are. It came back to be endometrial cancer, uterine cancer. So, needless to say, I was I was devastated. Of course, I had to cry. She of course, the GYN told me that this is, I don't like this part of my job, she says. Because, of course, she likes, because she has to deliver bad news. So she was telling me she didn't like that part of her job, and that, she referred me to an oncologist. Guys, I was really devastated and really, really scared. My mom, we have cancer in our family. My father had thyroid cancer. My mom had breast cancer. So yes, we are being checked for breast cancer. And then, of course, my mom had always told me that, you know, it's so connected. So she says, don't miss your pap smears. Oh, by the way, guys, just so you know, my mom was a doctor in the Philippines. So she told me, me and my sister and I, although, you know, my sister is a little younger than me, so she told me, make sure you and your sister get your monthly pap smears and have your breast checked for mammogram and stuff like that. Don't miss that. And just because you're being checked for those, Marissa, she says, you are going through a machine, and machines can make mistakes, and sometimes machines cannot cover all the parts of that particular anatomy. So there's possibility that they'll also miss that, and hopefully as the years go through, you'll be able to, there'll be an advancement in technology to be able to, you know, go through that and be able to find you know, the problem if you have any. So of course, I first thought that crossed my mind was my mom, because of the warning she had basically told us. And you know, I've seen my mother. She had a radical mastectomy when I was 14, and then 10 years later, she had brain cancer. We all thought it was a metastasis from the breast cancer, but then again, when I started working at Tripler, so what happened was my mom, when I got married to my husband, my mom was already experiencing the vertigo and all that stuff connected to the brain cancer. And again, we thought that it was a myth. I thought she didn't actually tell me that, you know, if it was, whether it was a metastasis from the breast cancer or not, but all that we knew was that it was a brain cancer. So what happened, I was pregnant with my son then, after I got married with my husband. Then we got pregnant with my son, and then that's, you know, and I've noticed her too. She's already had the symptoms even before I got married to my husband. And I've noticed that, you know, she gets dizzy, she stands up, you know, and I thought it was just regular vertigo, whatever. And again, I'm not a doctor. I didn't know what's going on with her. And she doesn't tell us, you know. Anyway, so I guess she got convinced by her friends, her doctor friends, to go get checked in the hospital in Manila. She went for an MRI there, and it did come out that there was a tumor at the base of her skull, at the back. So when that happened, my mom and my godmother, she's a nurse. She was the one who accompanied my mom to the hospital in Manila. It's St. Luke's. So if there's any Filipinos out there that are watching, they would know where St. Luke's is. So they went to St. Luke's at the hospital, because apparently that's the more advanced hospital back then in the Philippines, and it was. So she went with my godmother, and they came back, and when they came back to see me, they were crying. Both of them were crying. So I was looking at my mom. Remember, I was pregnant here. I was looking at my mom thinking, what are you crying about? And so they told me what it was. And so of course I got worried, because, you know, that's my mom. I got worried, and then so I used to work at not Tripler, but the hospital in the Philippines, the Air Force hospital there, and I handled the program there for indigents, the native Filipinos who can't afford care. I used to handle that program. So anyway, I went to the command suite the following day carrying my mom's MRI, and I showed it to one of the doctors there, and they asked me who that person was, and I asked them first what they thought about it, and they said, no, I need to see this person right away. They were interested in my mom's case because it is in the tumor was in a spot that I guess was very, one, aside from it's dangerous, sits right at the base of the skull, which is, on the spinal column, or at least that's what I understood it to be. And so, um, my mom following day went in and they met. In the meantime, my husband back then, you can go for a, I'm sorry guys, I had to stop and take a deep breath. So my husband worked on getting her to be a family member, because she is a family member, so she can be back then they called them dependents. Now the family members are called dependents. Now they're called family members because we are family members. So, by the way, guys, this is what it looks like, the gift. And see, you can't see what's inside, and I love it. In the Bath and Body, they don't put the tissue paper. I don't know if they did it. The last time I saw it was like 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm like, I really like the idea. So I hadn't had a chance to do it, but this time it's perfect in my opinion, because we need to sanitize anyway. So here's one. I'm gonna finish this story, and then I'm gonna cut, and then, because it depends on how long this video is. Now I'm gonna probably have several parts. So this is my mom's story, and partly mine when I found out my diagnosis. So anyway, so my husband was able to work the paperwork, and we got my mom as our family member, so she can be seen at the hospital, at the U.S. military hospital. So she was seen, and then she got operated. Her tumor came out to be as big as a tangerine. I don't know how big that was. They said it was big. They cut it in half. Half of it went to, back then, Subic, for the pathologist there, and the other half went to Tripler in Hawaii. And then as soon as the people in Tripler, the pathologists in Tripler, saw her cancer cells, they immediately messaged the hospital in the Philippines, the military hospital in the Philippines, and they were able to medevac my mom. At this point, I was already 8 months pregnant. I was 7 months pregnant when we found out that my mom had cancer. So, or 6 months pregnant, I don't remember, but all I remember is that when my mom was medevac, I was 8 months pregnant. And anyway, so my husband had to accompany her to Tripler, because he's the sponsor. And so my mom stayed there and went through went through chemotherapy and radiation treatment. And she came home, and I think she did this she went back to the Philippines after her first rounds, and then I guess she was able to go back to the Philippines for like 2 or 3 months, and then she had to come back again for more treatments. And then maybe we did that for maybe 2 more times, where she came back to, she went home once, and then she came back, and then went home a second time, and then came back. She didn't want to come back on the 3rd time because she didn't like the treatments, and she felt that, she didn't feel there was any improvement to the treatments that they were giving her. And my mom was, at that point, had given up, I think. So she was, so on her birthday, October 21st of that year, 1993, my mom, we went home to see her for her birthday. When I got home, she was already paralyzed. I think the paralysis had already gone up to her waist. My mom was very lucid. She knew what was going on. She was even telling us, this time, couple weeks from now, it'll come up this way. And she just knew how the paralysis and the cancer is gonna progress, because she was a doctor. Then she told me that she'll be lucky, not to tell my siblings, because I'm the oldest, not to tell my siblings, but she had told me, she says, I'll be very lucky if I will be able to celebrate Christmas with you guys. I don't think I will be able to. She passed away on December 14, 2009, no, I'm sorry, 1993. She was 57. I was 27. So I've seen that, and I really don't like that kind of death. I'm sure with all the advancement in medicine and science that I probably won't go through that kind of death, but I could not even wish that kind of death to my enemies, not that I have any. But yeah, that's how my mom passed away, so I didn't want that kind of death. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna stop right here, and if you are still interested to hear the rest of my story, I don't know how many parts it's gonna be. You'll still see me doing some work, because I have to finish this up, because that's another story too. So anyway, yeah, so that's my story for today. And I hope you know, if you're still interested to listen to the rest of the story and the rest of the projects that I'm going to do in the meantime, yeah, stay tuned. I will try to upload them as I can. Anyway, guys, oh my gosh. Anyway, guys, I will come back, and I'll see you in the next video. See you in a few. I'll also show you in the next video what I finished and how I finished them. But this is what I've done, and I hope you like it. You saw me work on it. So I hope you like it, and I hope the people who will receive this will like it too. Okay, see ya.